Alright, hello class. Today we're going to be looking at inventions from section 18.2, Exploration and Travel, through our timeline format that we looked at in class on Friday. It's just a bigger overview right here. As you can see, we're going to be looking at the segmental arch bridge, canal lock, paddle wheel boat, um, of course, Elder Raymer's date of birth, and we will begin with in 200 BCE, when China develops the first compass. So as you can see by the beautiful drawing on the right, a piece of lodestone was set on top of a piece of wood inside water. The actual design of the compass I found out during a little bit of research was based off of the Big Dipper, so that's why we see that ladle kind of structure that we had discussed on Friday. So it was originally made out of lodestone, but as you can imagine with that Big Dipper format, it didn't give a very accurate reading. So instead they switched over to a steel needle, which they would rub with lodestone to make it more magnetic. And arguably the most important aspect of that is that the compass made longer sea voyages possible, and sailors and travelers no longer had to rely on the stars or the sun, but could rely on the compass. Move over about 200 years, Elder Raymer was born in the year 1. Here we are at 100 CE, so the Common Era. Chinese begin to build ships with watertight compartments. Modern day, the term is used caulk. I think it was similar back then. It was used to seal each apartment so that if one flooded, the boat would stay afloat. Caulk today is used in ships, but also like in your bathroom, shower, whatever, to prevent water from going into places where it should not. 400 CE, we see the paddle wheel boat either invented or really fine-tuned by the Chinese. They had it for a little while. The paddle wheel boat sped up travel along rivers and lakes, and as we had mentioned, with the hundreds of people who sometimes work together on the paddle wheel boats, they could move extremely quickly and be of rather large size. So 610, we see the segmental arch bridge is invented. So it made the bridge beneficial to the Chinese was that it was wider and flatter. As you see down here, the traditional arch was more of a half circle, whereas the segmental arch basically took the top third of a circle and took that overall structure when building the bridge. One of the great things about the segmental arch bridge is that it also required less material to build, so making each bridge cheaper and maybe making it so that it was more likely that more of these bridges would be built around China. Again, looking at the year 610. As we shift over to 900, I believe we begin to talk here about the canal locks. Canal locks one of the most fascinating inventions inside of China, especially because it's used in modern day. Places like Panama and the Erie Canal. It was invented to raise and lower the water level. As you see by this placard here, that's an example of a Chinese canal lock. A boat known as a junk would generally pull in there. If it needed to go uphill, as we talked about in class, the water level would rise. If it needed to go downhill, the water would be let out from the canal lock. Step 1 right here shows boat coming into the lock, water raising it up, and then lastly, it goes out at the higher level than when it came in. So before the canal locks were invented by the Chinese, they decided that dragging the boats up steel ramps was the best way to move boats from back and forth. As you can imagine, this was not very effective and cost a lot of money to fix and repair. So the Chinese said, we need to figure out a more effective way to move these boats from point A to point B. And the canal locks, as you mentioned, very terrific invention that have had a long-term impact on the world. Just zooming back in on the picture here. As you can imagine, if you flip this around, so step 3, you pretend that's step 1, it's also a process of going back downhill. So, again, going up tough terrain as well as down was something that the canal locks allowed boats to do in China with relative ease. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that timeline video. Take care.